what stands out? I think y'all remember after we do that about like constructing. This is them. Finally, what have you done? And all this for half a page on that. Okay, I think I'll let him get started, and in the in-between time, I'll try to pass this thing along to everybody. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Anthony.
Good to go. Okay. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Chavis, and I did my presentation on the sneaker resale market. So anybody got any type of knowledge on shoes? Can y'all name these shoes that's on the board right now? Anybody? Which ones?
Oh wait, the shoes that's on the board?
Yeah.
Like you want like the whole name of them?
I mean, yeah, sure. That's
No,
fine.
no,
You
no.
can call them right there.
That one's the Shatterback.
Yeah. And the shoes on the left, they're Adidas Ultra Boost, and they are the most comfortable shoe in my opinion right now. All right, my motivation is I love sneakers. I've been collecting sneakers since I was a freshman in high school, and even before that. But you know, I got Jordans, but I didn't really know like what they were until I got to high school. Shoes, they make a person's outfit. For me, when I first meet you, I'ma shake your hand and I'ma look down at your shoes to see what you got on. That's just how I am. I have a wide knowledge of the different brands and different styles of shoes like Puma, Adidas, Nike, Jordans. I have a great appreciation for all types of shoes. And whenever I graduate college, I plan to open a consignment shoe store, like Flight Club. Y'all know what Flight Club is? Yeah, I plan to do that and make a amount of money. The sneaker resale market is considered a secondary market, which means somebody gets the product and then they resell it to other people. It's a $1 billion industry, and it's only getting bigger every single year. The sneaker industry as a whole is heavily influenced by celebrities like Drake. Drake has his own deal with Jordan, so he comes out with his own signature shoes. People like Jay-Z and all the basketball players, they heavily influence the sneaker culture. And people, they can make a ridiculous amount of money just off the resale market because they charge OD prices. They'll get a pair of shoes for retail price, which will be like $180 or something, and they'll resell it for $300. So I mean, if you get 5 pairs, that's enough to pay your bills for the month. And it thrives off the use of bots for online sneaker releases. So what a bot is something that people make so that it gets the shoes whenever they release on that day, so they don't have to go online and get it themselves, and then they just resell it whenever it comes in. Some statistics: sneaker popularity has risen exponentially over the past few years. It really took off around it's always been popular, but it really took off over around like 2012 to now. Athletic sneaker sales have generated $17.2 billion in the year 2015 alone, which was last year. And because of that, it's increased the retail price of shoes by an average 5%. When Air Jordans first came out, like the Air Jordan 11s, when they first came out, they were like $160, and now they're like $200. And it's just crazy how much the price has risen. And these shoes right here, y'all know Kanye West, right? Everybody knows Kanye West. All right, these are his shoes, the Adidas Yeezy 350 Boost in the Pirate Black is the color. The retail is $210 plus tax. People resell it. The Flight Club resale price is $1,500. And it's tax-free if you sell it, but Flight Club is a business, so they have to tax you. Resale price is $1,500, so if you get 5 pairs of them, you're going to spend like $1,050, but then resale is $7,500 altogether, so you're making $6,450 in profit. It's crazy. And then I related this to 2 different microeconomic concepts: supply and demand. Because the sneaker culture thrives off of limited quantities, it causes the price to rise. It has a negative relationship. So less supply of shoes equals higher demand for shoes, in which equals that people will pay a higher price. And then I also related it to the game theory, because the people who resell the shoes, they really make the price for how much they want to charge people for it. And so the final resale price is like your equilibrium, but you also have some give and take, so which can be higher or lower. In my conclusion, the sneaker resale market will continue to experience a wide range of growth, and it's a great topic to look into, a great job to look into if you really want to make some extra money, or if you just want to make a living. Because you guys ever seen that white guy that's on DJ Khaled's Snapchat? He's like a little 16-year-old kid. You seen him before? Yeah, he sells shoes, and he drives a G-Wagon, and he's 16 years old. So yeah, that's motivation for the day right there. And if you got a pair of 350s, Yeezy 350s, talk to me after class so I can buy them from you, because I'm looking for a pair.
Yeah, we'll take 2 questions, and then we'll move on to the next student.
Yeah, any questions?
How many pair of shoes you got?
Around, it's like 75, 80, something like that.
Do you resell your shoes or?
Yeah, I do a little bit whenever. I'll get them and then I'll wear them for a little bit, but then if I don't want them anymore, I'll sell them. But I don't buy shoes with the intention of just reselling.
What was, I missed Lucky's question, what was that again? Can somebody repeat?
I asked, does he resell his shoes?
Oh, okay.
How much would you pay for the Yeezy 350?
It depends. I'm not paying $1,500. I'm not. I'll probably throw in, like, I'll trade you a shoe and then I'll give you some money on top of that. So maybe about $500-$600 with some shoes. You have a
Okay.
question?
No, I don't have a question. I can ask you after the class. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
So again, remember to introduce yourself, and when you finish, do not close off the PowerPoint slides. Leave it there. And please, as much as possible, try to ask questions that are more related to economics instead of personal questions. I also look at the quality of your questions as well. So if you ask questions that are more directly related to economics, you get more points. Okay, thank you. And that was
Alright,
good. Have it ready.
hello class, my name is Gerson Gellin, and I chose to do my topic on oligopoly, and I'll focus on iPhones versus Galaxy S's. What is oligopoly? Oligopoly is a state of limited competition in which the market is shared by a small number of producers or sellers. Oligopoly is characterized by few rival firms producing close substitute, interdependent pricing, intense pricing wars, and for motivation, I chose to do my topic on smartphones because I like to stay up to date with new technologies. I wanted to learn more about success of iPhones and Galaxies from an economic standpoint. And I also wanted to do research on the growth of smartphones in general. Apple iPhone. A little history on the Apple iPhone was, it was presented in January 2007 by Apple founder Steve Jobs. It has had 8 generations of iPhones. Introduced the App Store in the 2nd generation, iPhone 3G with 900 apps. Introduced Siri, the personal virtual assistant. With the iPhone 7, introduced Touch ID with the iPhone 5S, not the 5. A little history on Samsung. Samsung was announced in March of 2010 and is considered to be Samsung's first entry in the United States smartphone market. The Samsung Galaxy S2 was one of the slimmest smartphones at its time. The Galaxy S4 was praised primarily for its wide arrays of software features, but unfortunately, the 5S did not get the same reviews or praise that the 4S did. Competition and rivalry. When it comes to smartphones in the US, Samsung and Apple, there's Apple, Samsung, and the rest. Apple and Samsung lay claim to 66% of all smartphones sold in the US during the quarter of 2015. A survey done by Kantar World Panel found that 49% of consumers surveyed plan to upgrade their smartphones in the next 12 months, and among this set, 43% prefer Apple, while 34% prefer Samsung, showing that most people prefer either Apple or a Samsung Galaxy. Consumers see that Samsung and Apple is in the league of their own when it comes to the market, and that the market. Let me read that over. Consumers see Apple and Samsung in their own league, and the current market duopoly is far from over. For conclusion, for my research, I could see that iPhone and Samsung Galaxy S dominates the smartphone market. Both companies share many similarities in their production, distribution, and sales. Both companies also have loyal consumers or customers that allow them to dominate the competition. All right. Any questions?
So what do you think about the recent rise in Google's new iPhone, or Google's new phone, and then Samsung's Note exploding? And what do you think that would do to this to the oligarchy they have?
For the Samsung exploding, I think it has actually taken effect because it's bringing more people towards iPhone side since it is exploding. Since iPhone is its biggest competitor, it brings more people towards the iPhone. Somebody decides to upgrade their phone instead of going to a new Galaxy S7, they might just switch to the iPhone 7 or iPhone 7 Plus. Anyone else?
Do you think that Apple's success has to do with their product being better, or just the marketing around it and all the publicity it gets?
From my research, I think it's maybe when Apple started with the iPhone, it was for the features, but later generation is more towards people deciding to either switch to iPhones or stay with the iPhone, because popularity plays a lot with people choosing iPhone over Galaxy. I would say mostly, like you said, it has to do with preference. Some people just prefer Apple products more. Sometimes it's just based off, not even features, just based off familiarity with Apple products.
Do you think that Apple having the 3-year head start could be like kind of like a we're just used to a situation with the lack of success from the Galaxy S compared to the iPhone?
You said, say that one more time.
So like Apple had a 3-year head start with the release of their product.
Yeah.
And then they kind of broke ground in the smartphone industry. Do you think that because Apple had a 3-year head start with their program and their phone, that it was more of a we're just used to Apple, why change? Like if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of deal?
In a way, because when Apple first started, when they first introduced the first iPhone, they pretty much tried to change what was being done with smartphones at the time. They introduced the touchscreen, a new type of touchscreen keyboard, which most smartphones at the time had keypads you could use or sensitive, but it wasn't like the same as iPhone made it. And I think iPhone just always tried to stay ahead of the curve. And when Galaxies came about, there was only a standard set from Apple, and it was like Galaxy was trying to meet that. And they did a good job compared to other smartphones, but it's just Apple has always stayed on top.
Very good, thank you. Okay, this one is original, I think.
Thank you.
Give me a minute, okay?
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
finishes. So, that's the go. Okay, go ahead.
Alright, how y'all doing today? My name is Deval Dalton, and I'm talking about why college athletes should be paid. And alright, my topic was diversification because I related it because diversification is the practice of spending one's wealth over a variety of different financial investments to reduce overall risk. And I feel like college athletes are at risk a lot of the times because they can get injured for stuff and couldn't do future beneficial things. Like say if you got a concussion in a game, that could really mess up your life and mess up your head, things like that. And another way that NCAA is exploiting college students is like, the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all. It's a real big game. They make $22 million a year every game. Oh, well, close to that every game. And why I chose diversification, for example, they can invest $1 million into the Rose Bowl, but 50% of that can go to ABC because they're broadcasting it. And the players still don't get nothing, so they're still getting exploited. All right, and showing worth. College students are worth more than what they're getting back from the university. The only compensation they get is $2,000. That was a stipend that got protested, I believe, like 4 years ago because they believe they should be getting something back for all the effort and time they put into their craft. And it got denied because the NCAA said they couldn't afford it, knowing they can, by how much money they make every game. And it's no reinsurance. Here's a little clip of a game that happened at least 2 years ago. It's Wisconsin. Should be playing now.
Go with your right mouse click.
Oh yeah. Whoa.
Did you make this in Pages or PowerPoint?
PowerPoint.
Oh, but I don't know.
You probably need the link to the YouTube, which if you embedded it in your document, it will be there.
This is a photo.
Look, you want to see somebody get hit hard.
Yeah.
Just Google it real fast.
Alright.
You have one extra W in there.
This is the video right here that I have.
How long is the video?
Only 2 minutes, 5 seconds. It's not long. As you see, he was blindsided. He got a concussion, obviously. And I don't believe he didn't play football after this. He actually hung it up because he was scared something was going to happen to his brain. Alright. That's basically all you need to see from that. than making it. Making it to the NFL is really hard. There's only a 1 out of 50 chance that you could get to the NFL. And because of that, being an NCAA athlete is a full-time job without getting paid, but you have risk of harming your financial future. Statistics show that there's 41,000 injuries from 2010 to 2015 and related football incidents. And university money. Universities do make a lot of money from the game. The number one team in college football right now is Alabama Crimson Tide, and they make up to $123,769,841 of total revenue a game. This is just a game, no matter who they play. And the Crimson Tide players still don't get paid for it, but usually Crimson Tide people go to the NFL, but it's still not reinsurance. And the benefits of paying players, it will bring more business to NCAA. It will be a good source of income for student athletes, and it will help with student concerns and needs in college. And the cons of paying players. Student education is at risk because people would just go to school just to get paid and just go to the games, things like that. And smaller schools will get less money due to the fact that they're smaller and not Division I. And it can also create jealousy between peers and things like that because people do get jealous if you get more money than them. And that's the works cited. And I'm finished. Any questions? Go ahead.
So one of the big counter arguments to this is that a player who's sitting there in high school, is a senior in high school, is sitting there looking at playing for Florida, Alabama, and LSU, and he knows that if he goes to Alabama, he's going to get $500 extra a month, and that's going to weigh into this.
Right.
What would you say could be a counter argument to that?
A counter argument to
'Cause that means that Alabama's going to get the best players no matter what.
They always do because they always go to the NFL. They're always number one, things like that. And you want my counter argument to be what? Like
what would you say to the kid who's sitting there? Like what would you say to make that fair? Because if Alabama's able to give an extra $500 a month because Nick Saban's been able to win the past 13 seasons, what would you say to make that argument fair for everybody else?
So you basically saying I'm a different school and I'm trying to get that student to come to my team.
Mm-hmm.
My counter argument would be you could get a lot of shine at Alabama, but if you come here, you'll be the main star. So everything will go to you. Go ahead.
So basically, you're saying that student athletes should be paid actual money, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, but like, what do you think? Like, because obviously, most of the reasons people go to school to play ball is because they get a scholarship.
Yeah.
So what, I kind of consider that getting paid because basically, like, your whole entire school and everything to do with school is getting paid.
All right, but everybody don't get a scholarship though.
Yeah, I understand that, but like, so say like if somebody was to get a scholarship, do you think that's enough like compensation for them, or you
Not
think they
enough
should
for
get
how
paid
much
on
they
top of
working,
that?
because I was watching Ohio State practice, and they practice 4 times a day. And I don't see how they studying with 4 times a day practice.
Yeah.
So that's real tough. All right. Any other questions?
Last question, last one, right here.
Since you pointed out the pros and the cons of why student athletes should get paid, what's your opinion personally? Do you think they should get paid, or?
I think they should get paid because they put a lot of effort into it, and a lot of people get injured. So if it's messing up your future and you're not reinsured about going to the NFL, I really think you should get paid for that, for backup.
Okay, I'm gonna let Morgan ask a question, and then that's it, yeah.
My question is, if you think that student athletes should be paid, what kind of discourse do you think that would bring for like larger schools that have performance arts programs, like dancing programs and acting programs? There's a lot of different things that can put students like that in danger and risk their future as well, like with physical injury. I know a lot of people who lost their dance career because they sprained their ankle and could never dance again. So do you think that those students should get paid as well, or do you think it's strictly based off of like it seems like injury is your most important factor in this. Is it's jeopardizing these people's future, what they put all their time and effort into. So that's what I'm saying, is because of the risk of physical injury, do you think that it should be athletes and student performers as well?
That is, I do believe it depends on if they have like a future actually going into it. Cause you saying, wait, hold on, say that question again.
Okay, so like student athletes, you're saying that student athletes
Career
should be paid.
injury.
Yeah,
I know,
the
I know,
career
I know. You're talking about
injury.
career injury.
So-
I know.
Yeah, so like there are at larger schools there could be like a dance program, like they want to be a backup dancer, or they want to
So,
be
like,
they want to
say
perform
she's
on
a
Broadway,
ballet.
or they want to be in the Russian ballet, like they want to do something like that. And do you think they put on performances? And sometimes those performances are
So
they
you
have
saying
paid tickets.
You think
so
they
do
should
you think
get recompensated just because if they broke their ankle or something, they can't do it ever again?
Yeah, like the same thing with if a
Yeah.
football player gets a really
I do
bad
believe they
concussion,
should
he
get
can't do
paid
it.
too.
I feel
Because
like
universities, universities do make a lot of money, a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I believe they should recompensate her for that, or if they want, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
We have to close. In passing the attendance list, I have not passed it. There's such a sign for you that both of you signed and passed it. So people who are presenting today, remember that your due date will be after Thanksgiving, the Monday. So be sure that you submit it online in advance, and when you come to class, bring in your hard copies of your summary as well as the supporting documents. If you have two, you have to print out, yeah. And so Anthony, you got two, I think you got three. What's that?
Sources?
You have to print them out, yeah. Right.
What if you use
Go ahead, yeah, because we're running late. Yeah.
Everybody good?
Mhm.
All right, cool. Good morning, everyone. I'm Vincenzo Gianetto. I did my presentation on the supply and demand market for the football in the 2014 FIFA World Cup. The Brazuca ball that was used to play officially in Maradona, Brazil, for the 2014 World Cup was produced by Adidas, and they actually have, alongside their other competitors such as Nike, Puma, Mitre being one of the smaller brands, they have pretty much the highest demand in gear and equipment, including balls whenever it comes to playing an official match. The Brazuca ball was made very differently from most other balls that are produced for any game, whether it's a friendly or it's something as big as the UEFA or FIFA Cup. The majority of ball production and demand goes straight to an area called Sialkot in Pakistan. I hope to God I'm pronouncing that right. It's about 70% of the production of all equipment, including balls being made in this area. 60 million footballs are produced about every year in this area, and 18,000 can be made on a single day in the Adidas factory just outside of this area. When the balls are produced, they're usually used with the core, which is sometimes called the bladder, or it can be simply made from latex or rubber synthetic material filled with air. And then once the approval is given the okay, they add on extra padding, usually the basic, what do they call it, a hexagonal design of the pads, and a lot of stitching to make sure that the durability of the ball will hold up. The Brazuca ball, however, was made with a much different approach. It was given better aerodynamics and better bounce, better fly by adding less stitching and putting in a different kind of padding design over the latex core. And because of this, the supply and demand was the largest for the Brazuca ball for the FIFA World Cup in 2014 over any ball previously made for any cup in the past. And right here I have a link to a short video that just shows you Adidas going through the approval process and testing to
How long
make
is
the
video,
ball.
Vince? How long is it?
Oh, I'm not going to show the whole thing. It's like 2 minutes by itself.
Alright.
Unfortunately, you can't hear them talking for some reason. It kept messing up last night when I found this video. But what they're doing right now is using the this machine is pushing wind along with steam and smoke to show the movement of the wind around the ball. And the way that the ball was made in that nice design gives much better aerodynamics and fly, because right now it's being represented as if it were already kicked and in the air. In a second, they put it on a rotator. Any minute now, you know? Come on. There it is. They're using a different kind of ball to show the aerodynamics whenever a ball is kicked, and most of the time when a ball is kicked, a lot of curve can be put on it. You can see how the wind movement changes around the ball, and a lot of the time you can't get as much good air. With the Brazuca, they were able to pass this test with flying colors, which made it so much better than any other ball previously produced. And they had a total of about, I want to say, close to about 10 million of the Brazuca balls produced at the best kind of quality that they could produce. Where's my PowerPoint?
Good.
Just click.
Yeah.
What?
Just click the X in the corner. And close the tabs.
Oh, okay, all right. Here we see a few pictures that I put up of the factory where the ball was being tested and made. They used, instead of the regular hexagonal patterns, they used these special pads to put over as the fourth layer, and these padding gave it additional bounce, fly, and better curvature whenever the ball was being kicked. And here I have my resources. So, any questions? Yes.
Do they practice with that ball?
Oh yeah. They actually took the Brazuca ball, the first model that was made of it. They immediately put it out to a few of the well-known players. Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar, a lot of the top-notch players, and let them practice with it. Who better to put a lot of testing on a ball than the ones who will actually be using it in such high standards for the World Cup.
So how has this changed the world's demand for this ball? Is this like ball are you able to go buy it on the market? Like, could I go buy it on the internet now?
You could. When it first came out, because it's been a few years now, and because the World Cup unfortunately is in jeopardy currently, the price may have dropped, and they have already started working on creating a new ball that could possibly succeed this one. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, but
Well, you answered the question, yeah.
yeah. You could go on and find this ball. The supply and demand was extremely high for creativity and passing out of this ball when it was made, and the going price just on the market, if going by store instead of online, was about 300 or so, because the official ball is made completely differently from some imitations that you would just be able to get for $20 off the store shelf. So.
Thank you very much. We do have to go on to the last person. Close that. Yeah, you could close your PowerPoint slides. I think yours is still up there. Oh, yours is still up there. You could use one, that's okay. Just have to think.
And then you say it could be more than 2, 3 pages.
Yeah, about 3.
Cause I'm trying.
You could go a little bit more.
I'll try to keep it.
I didn't say 2, I think it's 3.
3 to 4.
Pages.
That's fine. That's
Instead of like 1 page, but it doesn't have. It does.
You can put it at the end of the
Send you the presentation like we have to do for the paper, like on over the internet. Like send you an email with it.
No, the final one, the presentation and hard copy.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm Patrice, and I did mine on the conflict on raising minimum wage. Okay.
Do you want to make it bigger? Or like click on the bottom of the slideshow? There's a button there for slideshow.
Go further left.
Go over.
Yeah, a little bit more.
On the other side of the sidebar.
It's
Back.
It's the little thing that looks like the stand up.
Yeah.
Right here.
No.
No.
Could somebody just help us?
You see the 4 squares right there? Go over.
One more.
Yeah, one more to the right.
No, other way.
Over.
This one?
No,
One more.
one more.
To the right.
There you go.
Right. Very
There you
good.
go.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. A increase in minimum wage could decrease unemployment because workers' increased spending power will lead to increased consumption and therefore would require firms to hire more workers to keep up with demand for products. Your first bullet point, now I will argue that this only works if the price elasticity of demand for labor is much less in absolute terms than the price elasticity of the labor supply. In other words, unemployment will decrease only if the higher minimum wage results in relatively fewer workers being let go. Why is demand for labor price inelastic? Simply put, it's easy to raise wages by, say, 25%, but it's hard to raise each worker's productivity by the same amount. So a firm that has to increase its workers' pay won't be able to maintain the same level of productivity unless it doesn't fire very many workers after the pay hikes. The firm labor costs are just going to have to go up if it wants to keep productivity at the same level. It therefore makes sense that demand for labor would be price inelasticity. But how elasticity does it have to be in order for a minimum wage increase to lead to decrease in unemployment? Let's work out mathematically for simply sake. I'm going to make a few assumptions. One, the price elasticity of labor supply is 1 because I only care about relatively elasticity between supply and demand. I think this is a fair assumption. The current minimum wage, P0, is an equilibrium price for labor. A minimum wage increase of 25% is being debated. There is no unemployment insurance, disability insurance to give workers a income if they are not working. In general, my argument agrees with the agreement made by Lee something that for each minimum wage rate, there exists a critical value of elasticity of labor demand, such that an increase in the minimum wage rate makes workers better off if labor demand is less elastic than the critical value, but worse off if the labor demand is more elastic than the critical value. Given my assumption, the critical elasticity of labor demand for minimum wage increase of 25% is around negative 0.2. So I think raising minimum wage is not smart. So I think minimum wage should stay at 7.75. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Do you believe that raising the minimum wage will also raise the standard of living? Or the cost of living?
Well, actually, in Cumberland County, the cost of living is already pretty high because military. So I don't think it would do probably much not much.
Well, with what he was saying, like if you have somebody at McDonald's, you're paying $7.75 an hour. Okay, they want $10. Where's the rest of the money going to come from? Because you're going to have to go from a cheeseburger that's $1.50 to $3 for a burger.
Well, that's why I said it wouldn't be smart to raise it.
Yeah, but that's what he would. Is that what you were getting at?
Yeah.
For like any product, not just McDonald's, obviously, but because if you're paying more for the custom, like for the production
the
of it,
would have to go
right?
Up. Right.
My question kind of stems off of what he was talking about, because do you think that if corporations like McDonald's or Walmart or things that make a lot, the people that are at the top, they make a lot of money, do you think that if they were willing to take a little less money, that it would make it easier to raise minimum wage for people? Because we have so many people in the world, like in our country, who live below the poverty line.
Right.
They say the middle class is disappearing because so many of us are dropping below the poverty line because more and more people are gaining wealth. And so, certain people are gaining more and more wealth than, it's not equal. Anyway,
right.
Do you think that if people who were at the top, who had billions and billions of dollars, were willing to have a little bit less, like instead of billions, they were willing to have just millions, that more people, like you could raise the minimum wage and it wouldn't be such a burden on the standard of living? Like, if a $1 cheeseburger becoming a $5 cheeseburger, it wouldn't be that much, like you wouldn't have that happen because they would be willing to take less money. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, like do you think that could be a solution for it?
It definitely could be a solution to it, but no business person is going to care about your living situation.
Exactly.
Because let's say if the state of North Carolina raised minimum wage, then certain jobs like McDonald's, instead of them saying, okay, she could just have a high school diploma, they might raise the bar and say, okay, I want this person to have an associate's degree. Like there are plenty of jobs now because how things are going. Now they're not wanting a person just to come within with a high school diploma. Like even places like Walmart now wants people to have associate degrees, and they only pay $9 or $10 an hour.
Yeah.
So.
Well, but if they don't care about the lower class, like if they don't care about the lower classes, then they're going to lose their profit. Is what I'm saying, and so like that's the counter argument to, well, they don't really care about you or where you're at, because if they don't, then they lose their profit. Unless they literally lower their prices to even lower than like $1 cheeseburger.
Right.
And that would still be them losing profit.
Right.
So that's why it doesn't make sense to me why people, I don't know, that was my question.
You make it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, just kind of going off what you said, a bit of a counter argument to what you were saying is, you look at Pembroke, a lot of these jobs, Walmart is an employer here in Pembroke, but they are not the largest, they don't own the most amount of people in Pembroke. The most amount of people don't get their jobs from Walmart.
Right.
You have 3rd and Main down here on Main Street, employs people. If he has to raise the minimum wage, he's going to have to lay somebody off because he's not going to be making a lot more money. San Jose is going to have to lay somebody off. Dollar General is going to have to lay somebody off. While they are large conglomerates, they don't make as much. Like this top tier is not employing the most amount of people across the United States, and that's kind of going off what you said. You can't just chop at the top and try to tax them and get them to pay more and stuff like that, because they don't have enough in the game, and they're not invested enough in it to be able to have that lasting effect.
Right.
So in your paper,
Great, bro.
excuse me?
I said that was a good question.
It was more bad.
Okay, do a quick one, because
No,
it's,
he was
it's
just
time.
saying
He
no.
had a good question.
Oh, a good question,
Yeah.
yes, that is a good question. So it all the arguments go back to that trade-off. Okay, I think Adam was asking that question, like, where did that extra comes from? So I don't think the business care about, I mean, like,
I mean, I
Right.
just feel like why should they? I mean, if you work to what you work to, why should you? I'm a rich. I ain't giving you no.
anyway, if you're done, please, put your, slides, not slides, put your write-up there, and people representing today, I'd like to talk to you, to give me, a little bit more feedback. And please collect all the stray papers.